Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the Quad Summit and the UN General Assembly during his upcoming US visit. Lebanon rocked by deadly walkie-talkie and pager attacks. Japanese brand on exploding walkie-talkie says they haven't made the devices for 10 years. Israeli man arrested over Iranian-backed plot to assassinate Benjamin Netanyahu and others. And day one of the first India versus Bangladesh test in Chennai sees Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin put up a century partnership to take control of the match. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the United States of America from the 21st to the 23rd of this month. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi will take part in the 4th Quad Leaders Summit in Wilmington, Delaware, which is being hosted by US President Joe Biden. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri on Thursday said Prime Minister Modi will address the UN's Summit of the Future in New York as well. The theme of the summit is Multilateral Solutions for a Better Tomorrow. The Foreign Secretary also said the Quad Summit emphasizes several important aspects, including bilateral, plurilateral and multilateral. He asserted that the agenda of the summit includes developing the Indo-Pacific region.
The Quad's constructive agenda continues to develop. We continue to work on development priorities in the Indo-Pacific, in implementing sustainable development goals, delivering public goods, strong focus on peace, prosperity and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Our agenda covers health security, climate change, critical and emerging technologies, HADR infrastructure, connectivity, maritime security and counterterrorism. One of the signature initiatives that will be unveiled on the sidelines, and this one I can speak about a little bit, is the Cancer Moonshot event. And through this milestone initiative, the Quad aims to implement innovative strategies to prevent, detect, treat and alleviate the impact of cancer on patients and their families. And to begin with, we intend to collaborate in reducing the burden of cervical cancer in the Indo-Pacific region. On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Modi would be holding bilateral meetings with several world leaders and will discuss issues of mutual interest. On the 22nd, the Prime Minister will have an interaction with the Indian diaspora. This is being organized this time by the community in Long Island in New York. There will be a technology roundtable. It's a roundtable with a number of tech CEOs where opportunity to discuss the tech investment landscape and the opportunities that are available here will be on the table. And there will be separate and several other meetings with CEOs and other stakeholders, and also some bilateral meetings with heads of state and government.
Now, a day after the first phase of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly election saw record voter turnout, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that bumper voting in the first phase shows rejection of parties which back stone pelting and terrorism. Addressing public rallies in Srinagar as well as Katra, the PM highlighted that the youth of Jammu and Kashmir have regained confidence in democracy and believe their votes can drive change, marking a crucial step towards their empowerment. He said the people in Kashmir have full faith in Modi's guarantee of a safe and prosperous Jammu and Kashmir.
अब यहाँ का हमारा नौजवान इनको चैलेंज कर रहा है जिन नौजवानों के इन्होंने आगे नहीं बढ़ने दिया, वही नौजवान इनके खिलाफ मैदान में उतर आए हैं। साथियों, इन 3 खानदानों के राज में जम्मू कश्मीर के नौजवानों ने जो भोगा है, जो तकलीफ सही है, वो अक्सर बाहर नहीं आ पाता। आज वादी का जो नौजवान 20, 25, 30 साल का है, उनमें से कई पढ़ाई लिखाई से महरूम रह गए। ये इसलिए नहीं हुआ कि जम्मू कश्मीर के हमारे नौजवान फेल हुए, बल्कि ये इसलिए हुआ क्योंकि कांग्रेस, एनसी और पीडीपी के 3 खानदान फेल हुए थे।
While in Qatar, Prime Minister Modi asserted that the government will not let Pakistan's agenda be imposed in the Union territory. He added that no power in the world can bring back Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir.
कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को लेकर जम्मू कश्मीर में भले ही उत्साह न हो, लेकिन पड़ोसी देश इन्हें लेकर बहुत उत्साह में है। यहां तो उनको कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है, लेकिन वहां पूछा जा रहा है। पाकिस्तान में कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के अलायंस की बल्ले बल्ले हो रही है। पाकिस्तान में इनके मैनिफेस्टो, इनके घोषणा पत्र से पाकिस्तान बहुत खुश नजर आ रहा है। पाकिस्तान के डिफेंस मिनिस्टर ने कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का खुलकर समर्थन किया है। पाकिस्तान से उनका कहना है कि आर्टिकल 370 और 35A को लेकर कांग्रेस और एनसी का एजेंडा वही है जो पाकिस्तान का एजेंडा है। ये वहां के मंत्री बोल रहे हैं। यानी कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस की पोल खुद पाकिस्तान ने खोल दी है।
Jammu Kashmir is voting for its 90-member assembly in 3 phases. The first phase of voting was held on the 18th of September, which was just yesterday, which saw around 61% voter turnout. The other 2 rounds will be held on the 25th of September and the 1st of October. Counting will be held on the 8th of October. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party-led India's NDA government has completed 100 years in office on Tuesday. Several union ministers have been holding press conferences in the national capital to give a report card of their respective ministries. Union Home Minister Amit Shah attended the national conference on initiatives taken by the Ministry of Cooperation under 100 days, where he said that the government has taken 10 initiatives in these days which will boost the cooperative sector.
मैं मानता हूं कि इस 100 दिन में हमने जो 10 इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं, वो 10 इनिशिएटिव सहकारिता क्षेत्र को परिपूर्ण बनाने में बहुत बड़ा योगदान देंगे। इसमें से 3 आज इसी मंच से अभी एक प्रकार से सार्वजनिक किए हैं। 2 लाख प्राथमिक डेयरी, मत्स्य सहकारी समितियां और पैक्स, ये तीनों का संयुक्त एक उपबंध बनाकर हमने देश भर में भेजा था। देश की सभी राज्य सरकारों ने इसको स्वीकार किया है।
Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan also held a media briefing highlighting the achievements of his ministry. He stressed that modern technical experts have worked to develop 100 new methods of agriculture which have helped in increasing production during the first 100 days of the Modi government's third term.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 16 जून को
You will remember that on June 16, Prime Minister Narendra Modi took the first decision of his third term regarding Kisan Samman Nidhi, and rupees 21,000 crore of Kisan Samman Nidhi was directly transferred to the bank accounts of about 9.5 crore farmers.
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Thursday addressed the Second Commanders Conference of 2024 of the Indian Navy at Nausena Bhavan in the national capital, New Delhi. Addressing the event, the minister highlighted the Navy's crucial role in the region. He said that Indian Navy has established the country's credibility as first responder in the region, and India now is seen as a preferred security partner in the Indian Ocean region. He further said that the Navy's anti-piracy operations have been garnering appreciation both within and outside the country. The Defence Minister also attended a tech demonstration organised as part of the event. The Minister highlighted the need for more coordination to strengthen the maritime security of the country between the Indian Navy and the Indian Coast Guard. The first edition of the conference was held in March this year. Union Minister of Steel and Heavy Industries H.D. Kumaraswamy said that India is aiming to achieve a steel capacity of 300 billion tons by 2030 under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, while simultaneously aligning with our net zero targets of 2070. He was speaking at the 36th National Conference on Green Revolution in Steel, Sustainable Innovations in Mumbai. He emphasized on the importance of sustainable innovations in the sector and reiterated that the national steel policy serves as a foundation of this green transformation, focusing on the adoption of green technologies and reducing carbon footprint throughout the industry. He urged the sector to be part of the green steel revolution.
India is aiming to achieve steel capacity of 300 million ton by 2030. This target is to be met along with net zero target of 2070. The Indian steel industry is already embracing key strategies to decarbonize its production processes, adopting energy efficient technologies.
The World Food India 2024 spotlights India's dynamic farm-to-fork supply chains and positioning it as a global sourcing hub for agri-products. The 4-day mega event will see Japan as the partner country, while Vietnam and Iran will participate as focus countries. Anna Thomas has more details.
Third edition of the World Food India 2024 got underway at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The highly anticipated global event is witnessing participation from over 90 countries. A coffee table book on the food processing journey was also released. One of the focus pillars of the event is minimum waste, maximum value.
Through irradiation units, it's a new technology through which all the perishable items, you can increase the shelf life of those perishable items. So we are trying to incorporate these technologies, and then yes, the basic ideas to provide an ecosystem, where the wastage can be reduced through cold storage, the complete cold chain.
The event promises to be a major convergence of innovation, technology and sustainability in the food processing sector. The 4-day event promises to showcase innovations and opportunities across the entire food value chain.
India itself is a big market, and apart from that we can feed to the world. To feed to the world, there is a competition, another one is quality, and other things like residual, other things, best quality, best packing, all such things can be experienced here, and this is a very good thing as far as further to market the brand India.
The reverse buyer-seller meet will see a robust presence of over 1,000 buyers. A high-level CEO roundtable will get the minds to find solutions to the world food processing industry.
This celebration of Indian food heritage here at Bharat Mandapam in the presence of esteemed dignitaries from around the globe is a testimony that India stands tall on the food map of the world. Our farmers, the first processors of our household, the house makers who are the backbone of this processing culture, had contributed immensely.
Japan is partner country for World Food India 2024. In addition, Vietnam and Iran are participating as the focus countries. This year's 4-day event promises to be a landmark occasion, highlighting India's emerging role as a global powerhouse in food processing. Anil Thomas for DD India in New Delhi.
And still to come in this edition of DD India Live, Ukrainian drone attacks cause an earthquake-sized blast at a major arsenal dump in Russia's Tver region. US Labour Union International Brotherhood of Teamsters says it won't endorse Harris or Trump in the US presidential race, breaking decades of precedent. And a fresh perspective from Berlin on the European Union's tough fines targeting big tech.
We need to look at waste as a resource. There are many possibilities and opportunities here, starting from the water that we use to brush our teeth in the morning and the shirt on your back.
We are always proposing a hybrid sort of operation where you're blending in technology where it's useful.
This recycling unit helps us to save 30 to 60% of the drinking water, and we were able to prove that it saved not only water but energy too.
Till now, which was considered as a waste, we are now adding value to it, which is increasing the farmers' income. At the same time, it's raw material for a different line of production as well.
I rework materials and use them to make carpets and other items. You could say we're recycling the fabrics.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. A second wave of explosions from wireless communication devices rocked Lebanon on Wednesday. This time in walkie-talkies, killing 25 people and wounding over 608 others. A source close to Hezbollah said walkie-talkies used by its members blew up in its Beirut stronghold, with state media reporting similar blasts in South and East Lebanon. The deadly attacks came a day after the simultaneous explosion of hundreds of paging devices used by the Hezbollah, killing 12 people, including 2 children, and wounding over 3,000 others in an unprecedented attack blamed on Israel. While Israeli officials have not commented, security sources have claimed Israel's spy agency Mossad is behind the attacks. A Hezbollah official described the incident as the group's biggest security breach in its history. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said during a visit to an air base that the nation is at the start of a new phase in the war and that the center of gravity is moving northwards. Meanwhile, Israeli security services have said they have arrested an Israeli citizen on suspicion of involvement in an Iranian-backed assassination plot targeting prominent people, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A statement on Thursday said the person was a businessman with connections in Turkey and was arrested last month. He had attended at least 2 meetings in Iran to discuss the possibility of assassinating Prime Minister Netanyahu, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, or the head of the Shin Bet domestic intelligence agency. Shin Bet said the latest arrest showed the efforts Iran was making to recruit Israelis to gather intelligence and carry out terrorist missions in Israel, including by using individuals with criminal backgrounds. Now, updates from the Russia-Ukraine conflict, where Russia on Thursday targeted energy infrastructure in Ukraine's northeastern region of Sumy, causing a temporary power cut in the region. In a counter-strike, Russia also claimed to hit Ukrainian military personnel and equipment sites in multiple regions on Wednesday. Ukraine's energy support facilities in the military-industrial complex, airport infrastructure, equipment and facilities, including 23 armored vehicles, were destroyed during the strike. Meanwhile, a large-scale Ukrainian drone attack on Russia triggered an earthquake-sized blast at a major arsenal in the Tver region on Wednesday, forcing the evacuation of the nearby town. The drone attack destroyed a warehouse storing missiles, guided bombs and artillery ammunition in the region. Let's talk about the US elections now, and for the first time since 1996, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters will not endorse any presidential candidate. Since the year 2000, Teamsters have endorsed every Democratic candidate for president, but on occasion have endorsed Republicans. The union's executive board on Wednesday announced that it will not be making an announcement or endorsement of an announcement this time around. The poll of 1.3 million union members preferred Republican candidate Donald Trump over Democrat Kamala Harris by 59.6 to 34%. Donald Trump expressed happiness over the announcement and termed it as a big thing.
They're not going to endorse the Democrats. That's a big thing. And this is the first time in, I guess, 50, 60 years that that's happened. Democrats automatically have the Teamsters. They took a vote, and I guess I was at 60% or more, and that's a great honor. I mean, it's really, I've had a lot of Teamsters work for me, a lot of the concrete trucks. They built all these buildings that you see in New York City, the Teamsters. Exclusively Teamsters, I have to say. They've done a great job. But the vote of the Teamsters themselves was very high for me, and the leadership, Sean O'Brien and the group, who are great people, they said we can't endorse the Democrats. So I think this is the first time in many decades that they haven't endorsed Democrats.
The US Federal Reserve cut interest rates on Wednesday for the first time in 4 years, stepping back from its aggressive bid to cool the world's largest economy and reduce inflation. Here's a report by Anamika Pandey.
In a significant shift for the US economy, the Federal Reserve announced a jumbo-sized rate cut, its first rate reduction cut since the COVID pandemic. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the recent economic data, such as the slowdown in hiring combined with a decline in the inflation rate, convinced Fed officials that a larger cut was needed.
Our patient approach over the past year has paid dividends. Inflation is now much closer to our objective, and we have gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. As inflation has declined and the labor market has cooled, the upside risks to inflation have diminished and the downside risks to employment have increased. We now see the risks to achieving our employment and inflation goals as roughly in balance, and we are attentive to the risks to both sides of our dual mandate.
As Americans prepare to cast their votes in a November poll, the strength of the economy and concern about its direction has become a critical issue in the presidential election campaign. Former President Donald Trump suggested that the decision to cut interest rates could be politically motivated.
I guess it shows the economy is very bad to cut it by that much. Assuming they're not just playing politics, the economy would be very bad, or they're playing politics, one or the other. But it was a big cut.
Vice President Kamala Harris called the rate cut welcome news, stressing that her focus is on keeping prices down. Markets surged in response to the central bank's announcement, but all three major indexes eventually moved into the red before the end of the day. The Fed signaled that it will cut the rate by another 0.5 percentage point this year and expects 4 more cuts in 2025 and 2 in 2026. Anamika Pandey for DD India.
Now, the internet is a billion-dollar business, but when it comes to the European Union, that number doesn't apply just to revenues, but also to fines. The bloc is regularly punishing the likes of Google, Meta and others for not complying with strict regulations there. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin for more on it. A good day to you, Lars. Now, what is the latest out of Brussels this time around?
One of those internet giants you just mentioned, specifically for Google, or Alphabet to name the mother company here. Alphabet has won a legal challenge against a €1.5 billion European Union antitrust fine. So that means they don't have to pay up after all. The case goes back to 2019 when the EU's antitrust commission said Google had abused its dominance in the online ad search market. Now, AdSense for search allowed website publishers to integrate Google search masks into their sites, display ads linked to search queries, and receive a part of the revenue generated through these ads. But The EU found that Google had prevented websites from using brokers other than its AdSense platform, which would be an illegal way of abusing the company's quasi-monopoly. And now, the General Court mostly actually agreed with the EU's original assessment, but they still annulled the fine, saying that the Commission had not really proven everything to the extent necessary. It all sounds a bit complicated, I know, and maybe that is just proof too that the EU's own rules and regulations on antitrust, especially online, have become so convoluted that they're really hard to enforce.
Now let's get you some sports as well and talk about cricket first. Well, lower order batsman Ravichandran Ashwin slammed a ton in his 100th test match to prop up the Indian innings on the first day of the first test in Chennai on Thursday. India were reduced to 144 for 6 at one point after they were put into bat by Bangladesh captain Najmul Hussain Shanto. Ashwin added over 190 runs along with Ravindra Jadeja to take the hosts to 339 for the loss of 6 wickets at the end of day's play. Earlier, Yashasvi Jaiswal also scored 56 runs, but he fell just before tea. For Bangladesh, Hassan Mahmood wreaked havoc in the morning session. He dismissed captain Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen there and download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.